What's up, guys? Today on the VC Brewery Show, we talked to Courtney and Matt Castellino. Courtney is the director and organizer of the Romancing the Beer homebrewing contest here in Ventura County. It's great to see how her contest has grown, and she has people from not only all over the U.S., but she has some international entrants as well. Matt is the current president of the Toaked Homebrewing Club, the homebrewing club for Thousand Oaks and surrounding areas, California. Their club has grown a lot as well, and it's great to hear that their club is inclusive of people who are not sophisticated homebrewers. They accept the beginner and show them the ropes, and they all have a good time while doing it. Enjoy the show. All right, Matt and Courtney from Romancing the Beer and Toaked Homebrew, thanks for coming to Tarantula Hill Brewing Company to talk with me about what you guys do, how you guys started, and I guess what your future plans are with what you're doing. Who wants to start? Introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'll start. So my name's Matt. I'm the current president of the Thousand Oaks Homebrewers.
I'm Courtney, and I'm one of the members of the Thousand Oaks Homebrewers and the competition coordinator for Romancing the Beer.
Okay, we'll start with Romancing the Beer because a few weeks ago, I was here helping to judge the Romancing the Beer homebrew competition. How did that start, and how has it grown since it started?
Well, the competition originally started about, I think, our second year of the club's existence, and we wanted to be able to just really start judging all the beers and providing another competition in the area, because at the time there were not a whole lot of competitions up here, as there was not a lot of clubs either. So what started off as a small little 50 to 70 entry competition over the last 8 years has grown to be over 300 entries, and lots of sponsorship from all our local breweries, and turned into kind of a big ordeal, but it's been a lot of fun. So
how far is your reach of the competition? From where do people submit their entries?
Well, we're international.
Is that right? Wow.
So we
big time.
Yeah. We had a high up winning entry from Brazil.
Wow.
I think the year that you judged.
All right.
We were like, oh no, if he wins, he's going to have to fly out.
Oh man.
But we've had entries this year. The winner actually this year is from Alabama.
All right.
The third place winner is from New Hampshire.
Wow.
So we really do span the entire United States. We get a lot of entries from the Bay Area, obviously San Diego, Quaff. Always enters a lot of competitions, Washington, Oregon, so kind of all over the place.
And why do you think that is? Not that it's not good, but why do you think people ship their beer all the way over here to have it judged?
I'd like to think that our club is known for really giving good feedback. We like to try to get the best quality judges that we can to come out. And if somebody's newer to judging, like when you came out, trying to teach people how to do it so that people get great feedback to learn how to make better homebrew. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, it was, not being a formal judge, it was pretty nerve-wracking sitting at the table with other people that had done this for a while.
You're like, what do I taste?
Right, no, and after a while, the first one I did was at 5 Threads, so the year before I was at 5 Threads, so that one was even worse. So this one was, I already got my feet wet a little bit, knew what to expect, but still, people took the time to make the beer, so you want to give them a fair judging.
Exactly.
And then if you're not someone who would be considered a qualified judge, it's, the pressure's pretty high on someone tasting. I taste good beer, and that's all I can, right?
You're like, it tastes like beer.
Right.
10 points.
No, I wasn't that bad, but I got it in. So, since how many years has the contest been going on?
I think this year was actually 9.
Yeah.
For the competition, and the very first year was just a normal small competition. Institution Ale Company opened up shortly after that. Their members are obviously Thousand Oaks Homebrewers originally, and they said that they would sponsor and do a pro-am. So it's kind of been that way ever since. So from year 2 till now, they are a pro-am brewery. So
And so when someone wins the competition, What do they get?
They get to brew with Institution their winning beer, and they'll also get a keg of it too, just for their own.
Wow.
But the best part is the party that Institution will throw for you. It's a release party. They do a special glass, and obviously this year and last year COVID's kind of ruined it, but that means hopefully this fall there'll be a grand party. So
wow, cool.
We shall see.
That's good. Well, that's actually quite the prize if you're a home brewer, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, that's kind of the creme de la creme, to get to brew on a
Right.
full system like what Tarantula has here, or Five Threads or Institution. We're kind of a fun competition where we have a spin-off where we do a Best Belgian. Institution doesn't brew any Belgian beers. So what we've done is Tim over at Five Threads, who's also a Thousand Oaks home brewer,
Yeah.
he said that he'll brew it. So we do a special best of show round for all Belgian sour beers, and if you win, you get to brew there. So we have a double pro-am situation, so more opportunities to win a kind of cool prize.
Cool. And they get, I guess, the scale from homebrew size to production size. They get help from the brewers that are at the facilities.
Yeah, they.
So I mean, if their recipe, so they give them the recipe, do they get input from Institution or Five Threads to say?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah,
how they go
no,
about
I mean,
that?
they'll ask for as much details as the home brewer will have. A lot of differences, of course, exist between going from 5 gallons, let's say, all the way up to 15 barrels.
Right, for sure.
But that's what they'll look at and understand, the basis of everything you did for that recipe,
Yeah.
and be able to scale it up, understanding how their system works, so that the goal is to have the exact same representation of that homebrew beer that won, but now on a commercial scale. So they've been really good about asking everything from water to the exact grains you use,
Right.
Hops, you name it. They really have left no stone unturned.
Right.
Not all homebrewers may have all of that known, and that's where they'll use their experience to fill in the blanks where they need to.
Right.
And
Cool.
I think every time that we've had the release beer, it's been a great beer that's been very representative of the homebrew beer that's won the competition. So.
That's good. And so they'll actually learn something while they're working with the.
So Matt has actually won Romancing the Beer before. One of the third or fourth year.
Yeah,
Matt
it's
and
a
Todd.
while ago now, but yeah.
Won for an IPA, and so we got to go and grain out their old system, and do all the manual labor for them.
Right.
So it's
Only
actually
yours, or do they have you do the whole facility? Extra labor there for the day.
I know. I was hoping it would only be ours, but I don't know if they put us to.
Yeah, yours is in there too. Go ahead and try that one.
And this was actually at their original facility, where it was a lot smaller system, like a 3-barrel, and it was a lot more manual. Lucky us, but no, it was a lot of fun to buy lunch for everybody there. It's just really, it's relaxing. It's a nice just day to spend with fellow brewers.
Cool. Have any of the beers that have won made it on anyone's board permanently? Have they been that good?
So I'll say that at least one beer that had won not too long ago, it's probably 3 years ago. It was a stout that was part of like a spice herb vegetable category. It had chilies, I think cocoa nibs, may have had vanilla and coffee, yeah.
Okay.
And so this was won by a gentleman named Oleg down in San Diego. And it has been rebrewed by Institution as a winter seasonal.
Cool.
So it's a good example where they've at least rebrewed something very similar to that. So,
awesome.
Generally speaking, at least at Institution, they have such a tight brew schedule with a lot of their core beers. That's not to say that some of the beers that they have brewed as part of the competition aren't worthy of being rebrewed, but it's just a matter of how it fits with their overall, beer schedule and
for sure.
what they're trying to offer for
their business. They have to make money,
exactly,
so
their lineup.
Right.
And
Cool.
seasonality. So depending on the beer that wins, I mean, if they release it, typically the release ended up in June, shortly after the Firestone Beer Festival. So if it's a big dark winter beer, obviously that's not ideal for the summer.
Right.
But it really just depends, and we've had everything from a Schwartz beer, like what Andy won with, because he's also won Romancing the Beer.
Yeah.
All the way to this festival stout to an IPA, and this year is an international pale lager that won. So
All right.
actually be a fantastic summer beer. So we'll see if Matt out over in Alabama decides he wants to fly himself out.
Right.
Come brew a
It's
beer.
not a bad trip, you know.
I mean, LA, lots of stuff to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully COVID won't be an issue.
So COVID, how did it? I know how it changed. How did it change your contest this year?
It was awful. And I'm going to say that as the coordinator because
Right.
it's exponentially a lot more work on the back end.
Uh-huh.
Judging the beers is just one aspect of a competition. So anybody who's wanting to put together a competition, please know there's a lot of paperwork
Yeah.
and a lot of double checking and arranging. And this year, now finding enough judges who are willing to judge either virtually or together if they had a pod that they were comfortable with. Like Long
Yeah.
Beach Homebrewers, thank you so much. Maltos Falcons, thank you so much. Vibe, thank you guys so much for helping judge because they all helped us get this competition done, and this was only 100 entries.
Uh-huh.
So I had to cap the entries, and
What are they usually? Or what were they last year?
the year before was 300.
Wow.
It'd be unlimited, right? So we would never
Right.
normally cap the entries, but
Right.
Yeah, so and it ranges kind of because the homebrew hobby is kind of it ups and downs. So you can definitely tell with the number of entries, or if somebody decides to enter 1,000 beers in every category, which has happened.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Playing the numbers, huh?
yeah, they're like, okay, let's put this beer in every category it might possibly fit in, so we can figure out how it does and what it's best as. And
Right.
honestly, you get a lot of feedback. So
Yeah.
or just enter every competition under the sun,
Right.
because that's the best way to get a well-rounded information about your beer.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so just trying to coordinate getting all the beers to all the judges.
Yeah.
And I work in downtown Los Angeles, so
Yeah.
people could meet me. That was awesome. So that definitely helped out the system.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, everyone had to scramble in some way during this, right? And
Oh, yeah.
hopefully, this is the only time we have to
I know.
go through this, right? Fingers crossed. Okay.
I will say that while it was a lot more work, I think it was a great testament for the club and then the homebrewing community
Yeah.
to still make the contest happen.
Right.
Even if it wasn't the way it normally has been, we weren't able to have as many entries. We decided to still adapt and allow homebrewers to still be able to submit their beers and get feedback, and again,
Right.
still have the grand prize of brewing with institutions. So
Yeah.
Right.
and that was something we talked with the institution in the beginning as well as within the club and said, do we want to really do this? And I think it was Sean Smith that even said the show must go on. So
Yep.
Right.
it was good to see, and I'm glad
Right.
we were able to at least keep it going despite the challenges with work.
And it's important, even if it's an amateur, quote unquote, amateur competition. It's important to have contests like this,
Yeah.
just for personal, like I said, feedback or satisfaction, right? This my beer judged against everyone else's beer. It's a pretty good beer. So personal satisfaction. It's important to continue to have it.
Oh, exactly. Or even if, say you're like, something's not there, but I can't put my finger on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I know it could be better, but I don't know what it is. So if you have amazing judges who have great palates, they don't necessarily have to be high ranked, but they just give good feedback. They
Right.
write good paper.
Yeah.
They can pinpoint possibly that thing that you couldn't put your finger on.
Right.
So that it just it's more minds to help figure it out.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. So Toaked Homebrewers. What's the official name? Toaked Homebrewers.
Thousand Oaks Homebrewers would be the official name, but we go by Toaked.
I'm
for
sure you
short.
guys do go by Toaked.
Otherwise,
been
it's quite a mouthful.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's been our catchy
Yeah.
name pretty much from the beginning.
Right. Yeah. I tried looking that up on the internet.
It's
Right.
be careful with the hashtags.
That's for
we get
sure.
a lot of other
Yeah.
420 related
Yeah.
things as well.
For sure. Well, hey, but reach is reach, right? So whatever. When did it start?
So it started in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually coming up then on our 10-year anniversary
All right.
this year.
How many members that year?
It was really small. I want to say probably just a handful. I don't know, 10, 15. Might have been around 20. But it was started by Todd Slater.
And Adam.
And Adam.
Yeah.
So there are two guys that were from the Thousand Oaks area. And we're well, at least Todd was down in San Diego. He got into home brewing, and he had actually worked initially over at Wade's Wines. So he was, connected to the industry, the craft beer industry, and he was starting to see a lot of different customers and just friends and people looking for a venue, if you will, to share homebrew.
Right.
And it was recognized that at least in the Thousand Oaks, maybe the greater Conejo Valley area, that there wasn't a local homebrew club within reach for people to be able to come and share the homebrews, talk homebrews, learn from each other. And the other big thing too is that every year Southern California Homebrewers Festival is an opportunity for all the homebrew clubs to get together and be able to share their homebrews at that event. And so recognizing that individuals both wanted to share their homebrew as well as be able to participate in the event and represent this area, they decided to start the homebrew club, and we've been around ever since.
Right, cool. And how many members do you currently have?
So we're a pretty small club. It ebbs and flows, but I would say like at least paying members we're around 20, 25.
Yeah.
So by no means a large club in comparison to some of the others, but I think in many ways it offers some advantages where it's a pretty relaxed atmosphere. You get to really know all the individuals in the club and form friendships, and hopefully not have it be as intimidating for people to approach one another and ask feedback and have questions get answered. How
experienced do you have to be in the club?
No experience at all. And I think that's a big thing that we've always tried to put a lot of effort behind, is not having people feel intimidated. I mean, we don't want it to be a club where we're looking down our noses and it's only for elitists and very experienced homebrewers. Whether you're just starting out with a kit or you've been brewing for your the last decade and you got all the bells and whistles in your garage, all is welcome. It's really about helping one another get better as much as you'd like to, and then just having fun and sharing our experiences, our beers, right?
So you guys critique each other's beers so like a meeting, you get together for a meeting, what's a meeting like?
So a typical meeting, at least when we were normally meeting in person, right, pre-COVID, is we would have usually a topic that we would discuss. Sometimes we call it like an educational, we'd go over a style, or we would do like a particular theme, like how to dry hop beers, or some of the different techniques there.
Right.
And we would do that and then kind of have a discussion with the group. And then we would have basically, we'll call it a social hour, but that's an opportunity where everyone gets to pour their homebrew that they brought.
Right.
And we'll share it with the group and we'll talk about it and we'll give feedback.
Right.
And it's never, I don't think ever something where we tear people down. It's just kind of giving, an assessment of what they're tasting, asking what the homebrewer's going for. Are they happy with it? What they would like to improve? And again, it's just an audience where like-minded people can kind of, have a conversation with you about the hobby and about your beer. And
and I find that it's so I have a coffee roasting hobby, right? So
not a bad hobby.
Not a bad hobby.
We're big coffee drinkers.
Yeah,
in the long run,
most brewers
in the long run, it's cheaper. I tell my wife. So
lies.
It's tough sometimes to get feedback from somebody because you've decided, right? I like this, whatever, this beer, this coffee, right? So is there everyone understands in the club that that's what you're doing when you give feedback and you're not constructive criticism, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we try to gauge too from an individual, how much feedback they want. Sometimes people, honestly, they're not really looking for a complete breakdown of their beer. Sometimes they're happy with their beer, they like their beer, and they enjoy sharing it, and that's okay, right? Everybody has different goals or what they want out of the hobby, and so it's, us kind of recognizing and talking about whatever that particular individual is going for, understanding that, and supporting that person as a member of the homebrew club. So some people say, just give me your honest feedback.
Right.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
I think there's a certain understanding and just homebrewers in general that we tend to be a little sensitive if we're not told it's the best beer they've ever had. So we understand that going into it a little bit.
Right. Is that your standard first line? It's the best beer I ever had, but
yeah. Having said that, here's where I could improve further.
Right.
No, but I mean, you ask somebody and kind of get a feel for whether, how much of in-depth feedback they're looking for,
right?
Versus just kind of having a conversation about the beer style. Again, it's not one size shoe fits all.
Right.
Well, and everybody's taste profiles are different
right.
too. Like you might taste something that I don't taste, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But it might be terrible to you. Like heaven forbid, I can never taste that particular hop because I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, but this one's the best hop in the world. So I'm gonna put it in everything.
Right.
So it really is a personal preference too. It's just like if you go to any of these craft breweries, somebody might have a beer that is the greatest thing in the world to you, but the general public or maybe some individuals don't like it. So it's totally hit or miss sometimes with personal preference.
I think, again, it really just comes down to, are you happy with the beer? And if not, how can we help, right?
Yeah.
And if you are and you're just here to share it, that's great. And, we have a conversation about it, and we got to have a lot of fun. That's really all that matters at the end of it, right? It's a hobby.
Right.
So if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. And
for sure.
Club, we try to ask ourselves that, hey, are we having a good time? And if so, then we're doing okay.
Cool.
Well, and our club is, like, everyone is genuinely friends. Like, most of us have been at each other's weddings. All are starting to have, some people are starting to have children. Some people are kicking their children out of the house. So we're not just a young club. We have a wide variety of ages. So it's not just a young person's hobby. And, it's not just guys. It's not just girls.
Right.
It's, completely inclusive to anybody who wants to come on out. So.
Cool. Okay, so COVID's over sometime in the future, right? What are you guys doing with the contest and the club? Is there something that you've learned during this time that you're going to take on to normal times?
I have one thing about that. Virtual score sheets are the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah. No transferring.
Yes, no scanning.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing too is that judges' handwriting tends to be as bad, if maybe not worse, than doctors' handwriting.
Right.
Barely legible. That's always been one thing when you get score sheets back.
Especially if you're the 10th beer in the flight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I have
lunch.
I got feedback, but can I read it? Right.
Right.
So that certainly.
So everyone has to bring their tablets to the next contest, right?
Yes.
All right.
Ideally.
Yeah. Cool.
I think one thing though that we can still incorporate in moving forward is the virtual aspect of having different people from different breweries, industry experts, still participate in our meetings. I mentioned earlier how we would always kick off the meeting with a topic or a theme.
Yeah.
And it had always just kind of defaulted to whether someone could actually show up, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And now I think we kind of can look at that differently and say, that a person doesn't actually need to be here.
Right.
And we can still, while we're meeting in person, set up a laptop, whatever, and have them call in and be able to have like a virtual conversation with that presenter, that microbrewery, with the club that is together at our meeting location. So I think that's something we'll still try to. That's awesome.
It's opening you up to a home lot more people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether they're in California or not, right? It's now everyone's kind of, I guess, used to this virtual meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
Atmosphere, and so they're really just a message away, or hey, can you kind of participate and meet with our club? And I think, again, the industry, homebrewers, craft beer brewers have always shown a strong desire and willingness to do just that. So
cool.
I think it's something to look forward to.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and like you said when we were talking earlier, most of these now brewery owners started out as homebrewers at some point.
Yeah.
Unless they just randomly fell into the job, which we kind of notice is not usually the thing. It's the brewers are a very passionate bunch, so it's definitely, you do it for the love of making beer.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So where can they find you guys online? Not you guys, but the contest and the club. Where can they look out for you guys?
So we have a web page. I think it's Toaked.com.
Yes.
So we have a web page there. You can always send a message to us, and we'll respond. We also have, for social media, we have an Instagram page. That was
Toaked Brew.
Toaked Brew. So same, you could reach out to us that way. We also have a Facebook page, Thousand Oak Homebrewers. You can contact us there. So whatever your fancy is,
right.
We have different options. So just send us a message. Love to hear from you. Bring you into the club. Again, we're not meeting right now for COVID, but we can get you going with any of our virtual meetings. Right now, we meet still every second Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
So
at 5.
At 5, right? And so we've had a lot of cool brewers join us from the area.
Yeah.
Support them. We had Ventura Coast Brewing Company. Last meeting had Tarantula Hill, of course. You name it. So it's a lot of fun. You can get to introduce yourself to us, and we've even gone as much as possible. We've kind of taken a urban eats or a DoorDash of
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, I mean.
Yeah. Of homebrew delivery.
Homebrew. So like if you really wanted to have like a homebrew, enjoyed, we've entertained even being able to circulate it among some of the members in the area. So we certainly haven't ruled anything out. So reach out if you're interested in the homebrew community.
For sure. Are you promoting the contest yet?
Next year's Romancing the Beer, we don't have a date yet. This year's competition is done. Score sheets are online for anybody who wants to check out their scores. I gotta stick some stickers on some medals and pop them in the mail, but otherwise everything's pretty much wrapped up for this year. And next year will probably be again in February in person at one of our awesome local breweries. Probably here at Tarantula Hill again. And then we usually do the prelim at 5 Threads. So there's all sorts of possibilities. We'll see what's going on and see if we're going to continue the same way, make it better. And we're always open to feedback and anybody who wants to come out. So.
Cool. All right.
And hopefully next year we'll have the Southern California Homebrewers Festival.
That's the best
on again, and
ever.
Can't promote that enough. It's a great yearly event. So
cool. Yeah, hopefully everything comes back and we're back to normal.
I know.
For sure. Okay. Well, thanks for your time, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. Cool. Thank you.
All right.
There you go, guys. Matt and Courtney Constantino. Romancing the Beer Homebrew Contest, Toaked Homebrew Club. Lots of beer talk at their dinner table, I am sure. Hope you guys like the show. Like and subscribe. Share this with your beer buddies. And I will talk to you guys next time.